Yes, Happy New Year everyone. The Undisputed has finally been concluded, and stick with proper boxing, you'll be alright. Another perfect prediction, absolutely spot on once again by myself, and Oh, for fuck's sake. Alright, I fucked the rest of them up, but still, the night belonged to the Ukrainian genius, and after a ridiculously long wait, we now know who is the best heavyweight on the planet today, Mr. Oleksandr Usyk. Brilliant stuff. Now, this wasn't the first loss to a small Ukrainian for the Fury family this week. Old John Fury had his fight stopped due to a cut on Monday as well. Bloody hell, have a chamomile tea, John, for fuck's sake. Oh, and by the way, pick your battles a bit more wisely, John. 1 minute you offer out Mike Tyson, the next minute you're headbutting fucking Tintin. Do you know what I mean? You can't write it, can you? Anyway, let's talk about this colossal fight, shall we? Well, I gotta be honest, it all felt very Tyson Fury heavy on fight week. All that people were talking about was the Tyson Fury glow, the Tyson Fury shape, the Tyson Fury mindset, Fury. I mean, he couldn't do anything wrong. For a start, he wouldn't look at Usyk in the face-off, and some pundits said, oh, that's clever, that's really clever mind games, not engaging with Usyk like that. And I'm thinking, hey, that's not clever, that's called being fucking scared to look in his eyes, you donuts. Then on top of that, there was this Tyson Fury glow they were all talking about. They said, wow, he looks amazing, doesn't he? The man's glowing, doesn't he look healthy? And I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's called a fucking tan. I mean, the weather's quite good in Saudi Arabia, the sun's normally out, innit? Fuck me. And all this even boiled over into the commentary on fight night. I was watching it on TNT in the pub, and bloody hell, if Usyk landed a 20-shot combination, each one bang on Tyson's nose, then he managed to duck the last one, they'd say, wow, look at that incredible movement by Fury. Usyk's not landing a thing. Yes, so in a nutshell, it just felt like a big old Tyson Fury bias once again, which I suppose is always the way. But Usyk never really got enough credit or acknowledgement for being so calm and composed all week, for looking in superb shape himself, for coming in at almost the exact same weight as both the AJ fights, which is solid, and generally acting like a true champion. And not just on this occasion, by the way, all throughout his career, but mainly for the past year and a half while this shit show of a fight has been in the making. Anyway, rant over. So it really was the toughest fight of Tyson Fury's career. I mean, it was so tough he thought it was fucking January.
God bless you. Happy New Year!
Yeah, there we are. Happy New Year. It's bloody May, innit, you big shrimp? What are you talking about? Anyway, regardless of the old Fury brothers saying things like this...
Yeah, I think, I'm not just saying it, I think it's going to be one of his easiest fights.
Yeah, honestly, give me strength. Yes, regardless of this, it was always going to be his toughest fight, because no matter how talented he is, over the past few years, Fury has fought an array of big, heavy-hitting plodders who may all have one-punch knockout power, but ultimately none of them had the boxing IQ or the movement to cause him major problems like Usyk does. This was a whole different ball game. But that's not all. Not only did Usyk have that superior IQ and movement to all his other opponents, but also he turned out to be the most aggressive fighter by an absolute landslide that Fury has ever faced.
For Usyk, I think people's got this misconception of Usyk that he's like this back foot run around the ring. He's very aggressive, very aggressive.
Yes, old Ben Davison called it exactly right, people. He was aggressive, he was constantly on the front foot, constantly keeping Fury on the back foot and always in front of him, forcing Fury to act fast. Because if he didn't act fast, he was about to be overwhelmed. Usyk said he would, and he did exactly this.
Don't be afraid. I will not leave you alone tomorrow.
Now, after the first 4 rounds, I've heard a mixed bag, some calling it even, some giving it 3-1 to Fury. I personally couldn't see anything less than 3 rounds Usyk's way, but then old Fury found a bit of rhythm. He was having a lot of success from this point on, timing that uppercut perfectly, turning the aggression round into his favour, and Usyk looked a little bit weary for a while. But let's not forget, this man also looked weary in the 9th round of the AJ rematch, and then produced a masterclass of a finish. So not only has this man got a very underrated chin, but when he decides to turn the screw and decides to shift the fight back in his favour, he seems to be able to do it every single time. Because just like the AJ and Bellew fight, his work rate kickstarts again and even goes up in some cases, which is a testament to his incredible fitness. But most importantly, he preys on his opponents after they've exerted a lot of energy in previous rounds, a time when they're at their most vulnerable. So yes, whilst Fury was looking good from 4 to 7, I did think if he keeps this up, he's going to win the fight easily, possibly even get a stoppage. But Usyk remained composed, and just like the Usyk game plan probably predicted, Fury began to tire. He simply didn't have the fitness to match Usyk and keep up the pace for the duration of the fight, much like AJ and Bellew. And when you're tiring with a man constantly in front of you, always throwing, it's only a matter of time before one lands smack bang on the button, as it did in that fateful 9th round. Now Fury's got a great heart and a good chin, and fair play to him for recovering after this heavy onslaught. I mean, for the record, had the roles been reversed, I bet your bumhole the ref would have fucking stopped it. But anyway, even though they weren't actually the biggest punches Fury's ever taken, it probably was that mental draining that AJ and Bellew talked about that had him bouncing all over the place like a big pair of wobbly bollocks. Maybe at this point Tyson was really beginning to feel the pace. Either way, 10 seconds longer and it could have been an Usyk knockout. Now even more credit to Fury for battling back and picking up a round or so in the championship rounds, but in the end Usyk had simply done more than enough to win the fight and not have any complaints from boxing fans. Fury landed the cleaner shots in the mid stages, but Usyk being the aggressor all night, outlanding the Gypsy King and getting a knockdown means it's a hard one to argue with. Oh, and by the by, I'm pretty sure that Usyk didn't just win this fight because Ukraine are at war.
We both put on a good fight, best we could do, and you know his country's at war, so people are siding with the country at war, but make no mistake, I won that fight in my opinion.
Yeah, I can't, you know, I can't, well, I'm completely fucking lost for words on that comment, but there we are. He don't do himself no favours, does he? Anyway, Happy New Year. But as Michael Buffer went to read out the result, I thought, well, Tyson's won it, and of course he has. Nothing's ever straightforward in boxing. But luckily, justice was served, and the right man got the nod. Terrific stuff. But now, the big question is, do they run it back? Well, I'm sure we all want to see a rematch because it was blinding, and Fury will definitely be crying out for another go. But if you're Usyk, what's the point? He's achieved literally everything he possibly could in the sport, and now he goes down as an all-time great. He's got more money than he can ever need, all the credit he could ever receive, and at 37 years old he can leave the sport with all his faculties intact. Just call it a fucking day. I know it's obviously enticing to fight again and earn another load of multi-millions, but then again he don't really seem like that kind of bloke who cares about the dollar sign, so what's the point? You know what I mean? He's just like Tyson in that respect, humble, not bothered about money, driving around in a little Passat. And, so, oh, sorry, hold on, Passat. Oh, for fuck's sake, where is it? Fucking hell. Passat, yeah, there we go. His modest little Passat. So, yeah, for me, sack it off, Usyk. Hang 'em up, bruv, you've done blinding. But you know what? I bet he obliges, and I bet we see him return. Because he's a man of honour, and when he agreed the rematch in the ring, I bet he honours exactly that. And as for Tyson, well, you know, I don't want to kick a man when he's down, because he is brilliant, he is a phenomenal talent, and boxing wouldn't be the same without him. But in a nutshell, this night showed us why this fight took 1.5 years to come to fruition. Because regardless of all the middleweight and easy fight jibes that he threw out, he knew the Ukrainian was an absolute beast and a very difficult man to beat. So I'm sorry to say it, but this is almost a bit of karma after a complete load of shit for the past couple of years with the pointless Chisora and Ngannou fights, lying and pricing himself out of the fight originally, then blaming Usyk and making completely unfounded accusations on Usyk along the way like this.
You've let a little steroid man come up from middleweight and set about you and take all your belts. But it's going to have to take a real British Lancaster bomber to go and relieve the useless little steadhead.
Usyk's a little dirty little slimy fucker actually. We're gossiping on you, you little sausage, and I'm going to release it very soon.
What, has he said something or?
No, bigger than that, much bigger. He's been on the missing list for a little minute or two. We know what's going on, but fuck him.
So yeah, obviously nothing ever came from this, but we all know full well what he was insinuating. So it's pretty low, innit? Anyway, regardless, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say fuck the rematch. Give us Fury AJ next. I mean, both men have lost to the Ukrainian king, both men are running out of time, so it's a battle for the second place. Bring it on. I know though it probably won't happen for another year or so, I suppose, but we'll hopefully see it one day. Anyway, big up Usyk. I can't tickle the nipples of this man enough. He's an absolute credit to the sport, travelling and becoming victorious on away soil his whole career, cleaning up the cruiserweight division and defying the odds, beating the two most dominant heavyweights of this era to become undisputed, and he did it in style whilst keeping it classy. On this night he not only gave away £40, he not only showed us he was able to floor a Goliath of the sport, but he was also up against the boxing establishment and still pulled it off. Legend. Fair play. Usyk is the man, and that is that. See you later.